First day, snap of the day, obviously. This picture is not exactly a very beautiful picture to look at because it means that some people are walking out. It's either people are walking out with lots and lots of bags or with nothing.
This is hectic. I saw another shop, one of these big... This is hectic. I didn't even know one of the big chain stores sold mealie meal in their shop until I saw the lines of people outside of it, and I'm like, wait, these guys stock mealie meal? I thought they only did like appliances and like all these other things, but I had no idea. And that's just how crazy it is, or that's how just in short supply the mealie meal is. And I'm just like, wow, this is absolutely rad. But I wonder also about crop diversification. Like, would you eat soya on a daily or sorghum, like would you do it?
The debate really came up, especially when we had, the hunger situation, the crisis, droughts and all of that. Could we as a country, are we ready to diversify to another, staple food? Maize, of course, it's been there. It's Zambian. Everybody in Gatali you haven't had any dinner. But anyway.
But millet, have any of you tasted millet? Sorry.
Anyway, one of the other stories that is making news now is the coronavirus. And that's because the coronavirus has now been declared a global pandemic by the World Health Organization. Rightly so, because it's now like in almost every part of the world.
It definitely is. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, you had... is it
about 3,162 deaths in
China only. And there's a lot more because Italy is also now having like a lot of people dying.
South Korea, 54.
7 countries, Africa.
Oh my God.
Belgium, I think, has 159, if I can see correctly. Is that the Netherlands there with confirmed cases with 300 and... Is that 32 or something like that?
The biggest question still comes back to, Dr. Chitalo Chilufya again assures the nation that the country is trying by all means to try to prepare for this outbreak, if indeed it had happened to break out in Zambia. But I think the anxiety again comes in when people that are coming from outside say that, there isn't much screening happening, especially at the airport. But of course, we have gotten assurance from the health minister in Parliament. He gave a ministerial statement. But I think that there should be something even much more to raise awareness about some of the measures. I mean, we've done it here on TV. We've talked about how much you can take up small, so much of it, you know what I mean, the mask and all of that. But I think that it should be done much more in the compounds especially.
Speaking of which, again, today, I just saw myself, like, I don't know how. I'm telling you, I was actually having a conversation. We go to the same gym. She's one of the people that does the screening. Those people have been assigned by Ministry of Health to do all those things. And she was like, the bacteria stays for like 10 hours before it, if it has contact with any of your body fluids, that's when, it gets activated. So she just kept on emphasizing, Sambanche Kumanja. And she even said it's not as bad as the way Ebola was. Ebola, okay, for Corona, it's 2%, yes, for you to contract it. So it's all about your immune system. It's about you just taking precaution, take caution around your area. But again, it's not everyone who's like that though. Like some people are just so gullible to, just not giving
because one minute you're high-fiving someone,
you know what I mean?
like, oh, Corona, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I think I've been quite consistent.
Me, I'm not. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think he has, because I think there's a moment I was laughing at something. I'm like, John, and then he just looked at me.
Yesterday we saw how the mouse, he said you have to be like, that's all.
And then it's not mean exactly.
No, but it's good to be careful.
It's not mean. It looks mean. Everybody's trying to protect one another. But I mean, even today, in the office, someone like a big man was trying to shake my hand, and you wouldn't do that. But anyway, it's one of those things to try not to shake hands. It's one of the measures, of course, that should be taken.
Okay. Guess who's back online?
Oh my God. Your favorite uncle.
Your bestie.
Your favorite uncle.
Your husband.
Your future husband.
Future.
Current.
He's back online and was posting this. Among the many
posts for this. Zicta is rounding them up like goats. Be responsible citizens, I guess. Don't create fake accounts just to hurt people. Hashtag Zicta. 10,000 kwacha for anyone that can give us the location of one Tyrese Mwanza.
Triza Mwanza.
Is that
That's
Muzambique.
Tyrese.
Muzambia ni Triza.
No, it's Tyrese because it's a guy.
Kwanu
No, it's a guy.
nakamba
That's
nati
Tyrese.
kwatu kwanu kulipana
That's
kama
Tyrese.
Tyrese.
That's Tyrese.
Kwatu
Offside.
ni Teresa kulipana ba offside hapa
No,
kwatu group 3
there's
hello
no
group
Teresa,
3
it's a guy.
Teresa no how do you know maybe it's a girl
No, but I
He's
saw the
age.
picture and I know the story.
okay since it's a guy
It's a
maybe
guy.
but
It's Tyrese.
kwatu mkazi Teresa
No, there's no woman for Tyrese. Let's look at that. It's Tyrese.
ni Teresa ni tete mwana ni Teresa no kulima kwenda pasa but ni Teresa
If Shem was a person.
Kuribe ni Teresa mwana
Denying shame.
Teresa. Hey, yes, that's the one. If denying shame.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
denying
Anyway,
shame.
we get back to coronavirus because UK Minister
Yeah.
of Health, in fact, has
Imagine.
tested positive to this virus.
Oh,
At least she's self-isolating. Isolating. She's
Yeah.
putting herself under quarantine, which is good. But
Minister bala pola na imwe. Minister bala pola.
Nadine Doreen.
But Wakambati, if I mean a coronavirus, like it's mostly being activated in older people, not the younger people.
Of course, because you talked about the immune system. So
Yeah.
it's children
So-
and the older people.
Thank you very much.
but let's get an expert analysis around how true it is, though, that black skin and white skin is.
We did get that analysis from Dr.
Variances as well,
from
around
Zambia
it.
Medical Association just last week, and was saying that's not true because we've got Africans that have been infected with it. There was an announcement that was made of the first African that was infected with it in China. That was the Cameroonian student. That is clear indication that there's no such
Anybody
thing.
can get it.
So it just
But I
depends
think
if you're
maybe the
body.
question, the debate there was he got better much more quickly. Oh, sorry, she got better much more quickly. So I think that's where, again, the
I think
debate-
it's not.
You can
It's
think
not
that
right for us
blacks
to
are,
start
you know.
assuming that blacks are not.
No, of course not. But I'm just saying it was just a debate that we're seeing on social media.
I hope she gets fine, just like everybody else, to be honest. But caption this.
Okay. Well, president.
Hello, yeah, shiny.
Don't say kinky. How was this though?
It's to get
Doesn't
here.
matter where it was. Well,
Yeah, I don't really have a caption.
it's literally just like he's looking like this man really didn't know that they were going to take a picture of him in this compromised. Chipisi. I think he's seen the president before. For him to be so close, it's not easy. To even touch the table.
I think I'm
It's my
going with
bodyguard,
Chippy's translation. That is my caption for that one.
I think it should be private.
There's a lot of captions that people have made, but that's none of our business. But tell us what you think the caption to that is, and then we'll take a look at it and see if we can read it out later. Those are the stories those are the snaps for the day. And let's get into the busy business of the day. How much you are paying for your 5 fingers if you're getting in touch with it at all. Or what your alternative piece of food is. But let's be joined after this break by the president of the Millers Association of Zambia, Andrew Chintala.
Form King boasts itself in being a leading foam manufacturer that has a significant contribution in providing quality guaranteed mattresses and other foam products. We are major suppliers to national institutions such as hospitals, schools, hotels, lodges, and other established wholesale and retail organizations. Form King utilizes only high-quality raw materials sourced from leading suppliers. Our high-quality fabrics are especially made and designed for each of our mattresses and bed ranges. With precision carpentry skills coupled with advanced tech machinery, we are able to meet all your needs. Visit our head office on plot 6300 Kabundi Road off Mumbwa Road. Email sales@formking.com.zm. Call us on +260 211 287652 or 286776. Visit our Ndola office on plot 3084 Nakambala Road. Email us at sales.ndl@formking.com.zm or call us on +260 212 651 130 or 650 158. Visit our website on www.formking.com.zm. Form King, our secret to a good night's sleep.
So currently, 25 kg bag of mealie meal selling between 195 kwacha and 200 kwacha. That is a 25 kg bag, and in some places very, very scarce. And of course, joining us on the program tonight is Millers Association of Zambia President Mr. Andrew Chintala. Is it chairperson or president? Let's get it correctly from you.
Well, president, yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, I would prefer chairman because sometimes there's some misunderstanding really
Fantastic.
on that position. But whichever way is easy for you.
All right. I mean, let's get it from. I mean, I know that you've been having a lot of meetings with probably the Ministry of Agriculture and many other stakeholders, and as a key player in this chain, supply chain, what exactly is happening? How do you describe the scarcity of mealie meal right now? The high prices, probably we'll talk about it a little later, but the scarcity, first of all, let's begin from there.
Right. You see, we get concerned when we get reports of mealie meal shortages and everything. And one thing that really is quite interesting is that I think when we started getting these reports about a week or 2 weeks ago, is that somebody went into some chain store and they didn't find breakfast meal, they only found roller meal, and that now was brought to there's no mealie meal. And I was wondering what is happening. It's important to note that obviously the chain stores that are stocking these products can only accommodate so much. Much as they may want to increase in terms of their purchasing quantities of these commodities, they only have limited space to stock not so many brands of mealie meal. Probably you find that they have only 3. They're being supplied by 3 millers. And as a result, if they run out of the stock, you take that there's no mealie meal. And yet, just across, you'll be able to find the product. Obviously, this is something that government has been referring to as some administrative challenges between the supplier and the distributor, or in this case happens to be the chain stores. Now, the shortages that we've seen, yes, in some parts of the country, they're there because, one, there are some millers that have shut down due to lack of maize, those that are not on the tripartite arrangement, which I think is currently on. That involves the Grain Traders Association of Zambia, Millers Association of Zambia, as well as government through the Food Reserve Agency. So some of those millers that have not really benefited from this program are the ones that are out of operation. And let me hasten mention that there are only 2 instances that you expect government to intervene on the market. First, when there are price distortions or manipulations. of the commodity, it's under the mandate of the Food Reserve Agency Act that government can intervene to try and correct the price issue. The second instance is when there's short supply of maize, a situation that we have to deal with now. Those millers that cannot access maize, we need to find a way of how we can accommodate them so that they can be part of the government program, so that we can close up the gap that has been created in the supply chain.
I mean, you say government can come in, but I remember one point last year when we had all of this, hunger situation. Vice President Madam Inongo-Ina did in fact state that government is not directly involved in the price controls. At this stage, of course we do know that the Ministry of Agriculture can engage in efficient policies around price fluctuations and all of that. But for you, as the Millers Association of Zambia, what strategies now are you using to engage all of these other stakeholders? Because we do understand in your statement earlier, you say that there's been panic buying, there's people that are just trying to exorbitantly raise these prices. What strategies are you using? How are you engaging all of these stakeholders?
Very good question. First of all, I think the tripartite, or what you're referring to last year, is a tripartite agreement where millers and the traders and government came together to try and find a solution. If you remember, towards the end of last year, we saw prices changing almost every day. And this is what I referred to when I said when there are price manipulation or distortions. So to correct that, it is within the law, under the Food Reserve Agency in their act, that they can intervene by offloading subsidized maize so that you can cushion the impact in terms of the price of the finished product. So what we've been doing currently under the tripartite deal is within the law, according to the mandate that is given to the Food Reserve Agency. Now, in answering your question, what is it that millers are doing to ensure that consumers are not exploited? For the very first time that millers decided to actually put the price tags on the bags of mealie meal, so that this is a recommended price, retail price of the commodity, so that we can protect the consumer from being exploited by other players that take advantage of the situation. But even when the situation is as I'm trying to explain to you, with the price on a bag of mealie meal, people are still paying 215 for it. So how much can we do? How much more can we do? We said, look, we've always ended up putting the price charts either by the containers, the depots, and the milling plants. But this time around, we went further to put the price tags on the bag so that a consumer is protected. But that is not working.
So even as you answer that, I would like to find out, so if an ordinary Zambian goes in the shop today and they find a price tag, and then there's a different maybe price tag stipulated by the association, then maybe the owner of the shop decides, no, let me just hike up the price. What is that person supposed to do? Is there a channel? Is there a way that we can protest and say, look, the actual, for example, if the actual price is maybe 165, then the owner of the shop decides to sell it maybe at 200 kwacha. Is there something that I can do to maybe, find myself in a situation where I can actually acquire that bag of mealie meal at the stipulated price?
Right. I'm sure I would leave that to governments through other state agencies or wings, security wings that have to do their role. I think our responsibility as millers is to produce mealie meal and offload it. And why we've been encouraging the consumers to access mealie meal from the chain stores is for a very specific reason. This time around, we've brought the chain stores on board. We are going to offload mealie meal to you at that price, and the price that we need to see at the shelf is that price. And because of that, this is why you've seen there are long queues of people trying to buy this, because they know that when you go to one of these chain stores, you'll be able to buy exactly the price that is recommended. Hence, people are shunning to go and buy it elsewhere, because you can buy as a trader from the plant and go and sell at 160, 170. We have no control.
Yeah.
We have no contractual obligation. So what happens through the depots and through the agents and the chain stores under the current arrangement, there is something that you have agreed to say you buy at that price and you sell at that price. If you sell for anything more than what is recommended, there are serious repercussions according to the contract. So it's not practical that those that are party to this can actually sell at a price which is not prescribed according to the contract signed.
So have you found any of the chain stores that have defaulted on agreement and on contract?
Not at all. I haven't really gotten any information with regards to those that are actually under this arrangement.
And what is then the responsibility of the Grain Traders Association? I mean, how are they complementing your efforts in trying to see that there is a convenient market? I know that your job is obviously to produce the mealie meal, but also I want to understand, if then I am a retailer and I have fewer prices hiked, of course there's going to be a high cost of doing business. There's going to be a high cost of buying airtime, a high cost of transportation from my probably your association to the other outlets, whatever outlet that I might have, whether in Garden Compound or Misisi or Chipata. There's obviously that fluctuation of the price. And are you then saying that at that point the Millers Association of Zambia wouldn't intervene in any way, even if you are not directly connected to controlling the price fluctuation at that point?
Very good question. You see, there's a provision under the contract. If it's something to do with the inflation, the fluctuation of the currency or anything, definitely there's a provision where we can make adjustment so that you can compensate on the extra costs that a trader may have to incur. So there's a provision already. Okay. So those that are participating in this, for example, obviously we don't expect, if you are selling your mealie in Wangwa and any further places, further than Wangwa, and you're buying from here, we have to compensate on the cost so that you can land that final product at the prescribed price. So there are mechanisms that have been put in place to take care of those concerns. All right.
I'd like to know also from you then about crop diversification and how if there's a possibility for that to grow, is there a possibility for people to adapt outside maize? Because I was just thinking to myself, how do we encourage? I know there's been a lot of encouragement to say, can we, look into other crops, but how do we do that when there is so much push for maize itself?
Right. That's a very positive and I think very pertinent question that obviously would love the industry through the food value chain to respond. Let me begin by, first of all, commending government. We have adequate policies. Government, through Ministry of Agriculture, has been promoting crop diversification. That is the way to go. Now, in crop diversification...
You can just hold the thought. We have a caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, please. Tell us your name and you can go ahead with your contribution.
Jeffrey on the line.
You can go ahead, please. The volume on the TV.
Please, we need you to turn down the volume on your TV set so that we can hear you loud and clear and so that there is no feedback.
I'm outside.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, but you're a little faint.
Okay. My contribution is based on the agriculture topic concerning the shortage and
Joshua, I think that was your name. Please just kindly, Jeffrey, just kindly speak up because we can barely hear you.
Hello, are you able to get me?
That's better. You can go right ahead, please.
Okay, yeah. I'm saying I think my contribution is basically on the shortage that is roaming the country or parts of the country. I think probably if we put so much blame on those that are trading not in big shops, but probably in combos, like someone has just have a shop, and we say maybe those are the people because they are going to big shops like Choppies, and then they are buying from there, and then they go and sell in their small shops. I think to me it's not that much logic, because at the end of the day I don't think so if I can wake up early in the morning knowing that in the next shop within my community there are people who are selling mealie meal. So I can't move all the way going to Twin Palm probably to go and buy in ShopRite. I think that there's not much logic in that. I think maybe what we can do is just to to inform us and see, especially on the government part, to see the solution that they're going to put in place, unlike putting the blame on other people. Because you can't tell me that everyone is going to these big shops where you've signed that contract that you're talking about. I don't think so. So I think work around, if maize is there, especially FRI, let them release maize to you, the millers, so that because this is a staple food, and we are not buying this maize from other countries. It's within Zambia. So I don't think so that we should have a shortage that we're having now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Today, actually, I was having a conversation with a guy in the morning, and he actually told me that it's a quite steezy when I was here because there's no mealie meal. And then, you find a situation where in shops, people are buying 3, 4, 4. Now the owners of the shop are even saying, Uli Bengula Imoz.
Right. You see, for me, there's no need even to restrict how many bags that you can buy. What we're simply trying to say here is that
doesn't that cause more panic if people go to stores and can't find what they're looking for?
But look, you only have that situation because you are panicking. You don't know whether you'll be able to buy minimum tomorrow. And I'm saying this as a miller to say we are producing. I recognize and I acknowledge that there are some millers that have shut down. Mm-hmm. That is one of the reasons that we may have seen the shortage that we've seen in there. Because these other millers that have got grain, they need to up their production so that they can take care of the market that these other millers are no longer taking care of. And this is something that we're saying, look, this is an issue that we're addressing. So it's a temporal situation. The country has enough maize stocks. Obviously, the maize is sitting with Food Reserve Agency. Who is the owner of this maize? It's for the Zambians. So FRA is keeping this. These are strategic reserves. You release this strategically. So we were releasing this maize because we wanted to stabilize the price. Now there's an issue to do with short supply of maize. And we're saying government has to intervene. And these measures are being put in place. And we are saying, look, there's no need to panic. Unless we are saying there's no maize. The maize is there, the capacity is there, the crushing capacity is there. So don't panic. This is an administrative issue that has to be resolved. And very soon, this thing will be a thing of the past. So the issue has already been brought to the attention of government. And for us as a responsible association, we've engaged government and we've been talking. And I think you've seen the minister acknowledge, so we are aware. And these are issues we are trying to deal with. First of all, to say, fine, what is the problem? Is there a problem in the supply chain? And where do we address and what is our target? And this is why we're saying, like he's saying, yes, it's not everyone that is rushing to the chain stores. But there's, look, you drive around the compounds like he's mentioning, you find minimum. The issue that I have is the price. Mm-hmm. You will find the bag tagged 136. They're asking for 195. And for me, that's a problem. So you can drive from ShopRite or whichever area that it's talking about, you still find this commodity somewhere around the city. So
the issue is not the supply but the price.
It's both ways now, because obviously I'm saying people have taken advantage because there are these pronouncements of the shortage.
I mean, the shortages, it looks like the shortages are in the chain stores and not on the local markets.
Exactly,
obviously.
exactly.
So really, it's not much of a shortage then.
There's no need to panic. That's what I'm saying. There's no shortage because we have got enough maize.
So that's what I'm saying. The issue is the price and not the supply.
But I mean, Mr. Chidal, this has happened before. Last time, there was panic. People again raised prices. And
just before you answer Chiswa's call, we have a caller on the line. Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Go right ahead. Tell us your name and you can go ahead with your contribution, please.
Yeah, this is Chris Nyirenda calling from Katete, Eastern Province.
Go ahead,
You
Chris.
can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to disagree with that gentleman who is saying we have enough stock of maize. Here in Katete, people are sleeping on the queues. What is a long process? You find that someone is traveling 40 kilometers just to register of the one bag. Now they find that there are these committees. They will register, then this form has to go to the DC. The DC endorses the signature. No, it's a process. Just someone to travel 40 kilometers to sleep on the queue, and that person has got children at home, he's got school-going children at home, he's left his field. You know, there are a lot of things. Now, where is maize? Because if we had maize, basically, here in Katete, if we had enough maize, I think people wouldn't be suffering such much to this extent. I mean, to this extent, so that if the government had maize, why don't they just come out and okay, we are selling this everything, and the maize in your fields are now ripe. They are ripened. Now, why still holding on to that maize which are in the hands of FRI? If really we have the stock. Now in Kawe, the situation is similar. Where is Kawe, I mean, taking the same meal? Because there's a shortage in Kawe. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Just before Cheswa re-emphasizes his point to you, we just want to take a look at some messages. We have some messages and we would like to read them. I'm sure a lot of people want to address this and have a lot of questions for you.
Any questions, obviously.
Messages. Mr. President, thank you for coming out open. Now, we have been given comforts and promises several times by our government that we have enough maize in our country. But why now all those shortages and high prices? Maybe you have a look at some other messages, then you can address that.
Right. Don't forget to put your name when you send us that message. My name is Victor Muleya from Sikalongo, southern of Choma. My question is that why is it that in Zambia there is a shortage of meal and the price it goes higher, whereby poor people, I suppose, it's difficult for them to buy, but Zambia is still exporting maize in other countries. All right, and well, the last one says high demand, low supply. That is what is causing the queues. Entrepreneurs are taking advantage. Probably, Mr. Jida, you can start with the first message there.
Right.
People seem to be wondering why you're exporting.
Yes.
Well,
in the first place, there are no exports of mini meal or maize products. I think this ban has been with us for the last 8 months. So I don't know when he says they're exporting. No one is exporting maize or its byproducts.
What about the memorandum of understanding that we had a while ago?
With the DRC?
Exactly.
Yeah, that should take effect in the next maize harvest season that we're anticipating a bumper harvest. So it's something to do with the future market, not in the current stocks that we have. The other issue that I think is raised is trying to find out why the price is high, and is putting that to the exports. There are no exports. I think that must be made clear. There are no exports of maize or its byproducts. Let me attempt to respond to, is it Mr. Nyirenda from Katete? I'm just coming from Central Province, Kabwe to be precise. The situation there is not as bad as we're putting it. There were 4 different trucks within Kabwe that were offloading minimal the time that I was in Kabwe. Yes, the queues were there, and we're saying it's all because of the panic. The other issue is saying that people traveling 40 kilometers and they have to stay in the queue for long hours. That is not minimal they're buying. Is referring to maize that is being sold under the program called Community Sales by the Food Reserve Agency. Now, if FRA does not put all these measures to ensure that whoever is buying this maize will have to end up in some home within the borders of Zambia, then we will not be able to achieve the objective of the community sales. All that they are trying to do is to screen the people that are buying. You need to present your NRC, you need to go and deposit the money, I think one of the commercial banks and all that, and present the slip, then you get the maize. For me, that means that the maize is there. What is complaining about probably is the procedure that we should be able to engage FRA to say, can we
the time is too heinous. The procedure is
exactly.
We do have another caller. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thank you, Malete. Go right ahead with your contribution.
Mine is a different view.
Please go ahead.
I wanted to look at it to say government should maybe intensify on teaching Zambians that all regions of Zambia should be able to grow enough food for that particular region. Because we are suffering all this simply because one region didn't have enough rainfall the last season. And yet in other regions, we had a lot of enough rainfall to sustain our agriculture. So my view is that the same way government is emphasizing the butane issue, let the Minister of Agriculture also intensify on sensitizing people on issues of sustaining ourselves. The policies of the government, maybe taxes, anything else. So we cannot rule out anything. So what we need now as Zambians is that we should put committees, agricultural committees, which will spearhead production in every region of Zambia, not relying from one place. Now, see where we are. Government told us that we have enough stocks of maize, they sold in Congo. And now, see what is happening. Zambians are suffering because government betrayed us. And because we betrayed ourselves, because others, like for me, myself, my farm is in Congo. I have enough maize. Even right now, I have maize, enough to feed myself. Even if it doesn't rain next year, I'll still have enough. So if the government can, just a word, even if there is no fertilizer, just a word, encourage people the same way you say go to school so that you be like those beautiful ladies I'm seeing in the TV. It's because they went to school. They are able to buy the soap or to bath. So let the government tell us to say go to the farm and farm. Then there will be no hunger in Zambia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe just to add on, maybe I think this will take us back now to the diversification of crops again, you know.
Right, absolutely. Look, I'd like to look at it like this. What he's talking about is how do we increase production? That's primary production, and that's where the key lies. If we're to control the price of the commodity and ensure that we produce enough for our own consumption and export, we need to get it right from the small-scale farmer. It's quite interesting to note that 90% of maize produced in Zambia, the contribution comes from the small-scale farmers, not commercial farmers, 90%. Now, what does that tell you? I started by commending government for the policies that have put in place promoting crop diversification. Now, when it comes to implementation stage, those that are charged with responsibility ought to be serious with what the government pronouncement is in relation to what we're discussing. When you're distributing the farmer input packages and everything, we are only distributing maize. What are we saying? You want to diversify.
But maize seems
You
to be
need
the
to
most valuable
introduce
commodity.
other seeds
Yeah.
for other crops so that the farmers are able to grow different crops. Now, what this entails is that Ministry of Agriculture equally needs to be funded heavily. The way we recruit teachers every year, police, nurses. Ministry of Agriculture is also another key and very important ministry. They need to employ the extension officers. When you look at the ratio between the extension officer and the farmers, it's a big, big problem. And now, listening to what he was trying to say, what we need to do is, first of all, if you remember back in the days, Southern Province was a maize belt because of the climate, because of the weather patterns and everything. Is it still the maize belt today? No. But farmers in Southern Province are still trying to grow maize. Things have changed. Why don't we find another crop which is drought resistant, a crop that is friendly to the weather patterns in Southern Province? This is what crop diversification means. And government has said this is the way to go. And we are saying, yes, we support that. And as farmers and farmers' representatives, they need to help government to realize this. For me, I would even advocate that let us identify what crops can do better. For example, in the Copper Belt, he's talking about Mpongwe. That's my village. That's where I come from. I know maize can perform better. You grow maize at a more cheaper cost as compared to other regions. So we are saying we can regionalize the crops so
Alrighty.
that
We have another call. Good evening, Amos.
Good evening.
You can go right ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, this is Amusugu. That is not my name there.
Oh, sorry, boss, but you can go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, please. I beg to differ with that gentleman there.
You can go ahead.
It's Mr. Andrew
I
Chintala.
heard him saying there's enough maize in the country. Is this maize kept by the millers or is kept by FRA? May I just find out from him first of all?
my brother, I said that the country has maize stocks available, and this maize is in the hands of the Food Reserve Agency. And to qualify that, I said this is maize that belongs to the Zambians.
Yes, now, let me come in both. Now, if you are saying the maize is under is kept by FRA, why is the production so low in order for you to produce enough mealie meal as millers? And if you produce more mealie meal, you know what it means. It means the prices will also go down. But it seems you millers are trying to sabotage the government, because the government gives you mealie meal. Here in Choma, we see trucks and trucks supplying maize to the millers, coming at FRA. And if I go there at FRA as an individual, I'm only allowed to buy one bag of maize for 1 month. And most of the maize is being ferried by trucks from FRA. But now you are telling us there is enough maize at FRA. That is not the true story. That is not the true picture of what is happening on the ground. There is not enough maize in the country. That is the reason why there is this shortage of mealie meal. Even if I were to ask you right now, as millers, do you have enough maize yourselves to do the mealie in order for you to reduce the prices of maize, for mealie meal? You don't have. That is a sign that there is no maize in the country. So when you are talking to people, please be factual.
Can you hold? Can I respond? Can I respond to you? Do you want me to respond to you? Maybe you may have a follow-up question.
Just give him a chance to finish, then he can respond.
Thank you so much. That is what I just wanted to tell you.
Okay.
He will respond to you, so stay with us.
Sorry?
Can he respond to you while you're still on the line?
I wanted him to respond as to why they are producing...
Stay on the line because we want him to respond to you. Stay on the line because we want him to respond to you.
I can go ahead. I guess.
Right. First of all, look, if you are telling me that you can walk to one of the FRA depots in Southern Province and be able to buy a bag for a month, what does that tell you? There is maize. Now, the maize that you've seen,
It's not that we have enough maize. Listen, let me tell you one thing. It's not that we have enough maize. If we had enough maize, I would be allowed to buy as many bags of maize. Because look, I'm only given one bag of maize for 1 month with a family of 13 people. And I'm only taught to buy one bag a month. That means there isn't enough maize. So when you are telling people, tell people the fact, what is happening on the ground. And I want to advise you, as much as you are able to represent the millers, you should also be going around in the depots and see what is happening at FRA. Whether you have got 20 family members, you are only allowed to buy one bag a month. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Habusugu. Maybe we can go right ahead.
Clear. I mean, how many bags?
No, look, is talking about maize purchases under the community sales. You see, if FRA is just going to sell 10, 20 bags, it will be very difficult. There are people that take advantage. You buy 5 bags, are you going to consume the 5 bags? It's practically not possible. So what happens is that people will buy from FRA and resell the maize at a more higher price. Now, he was saying that there are trucks that have been loading maize from the FRA depots getting into the mills. There are two programs the country is running currently. There is a program under Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit. The mini meal is being produced by the millers, which you've seen DMMU distributing in some parts of the country whenever there is a disaster. Secondly, there are millers that are getting maize for production, which we are selling in chain stores and all that. Now, let me tell you, I happen to sit on the National Stocks Monitoring Committee that is chaired by Minister of Agriculture. PS chairs this committee. We have all the players in the food value chain where we submit our stock figures on a monthly basis. So when we are saying the country has got enough maize to see us through to the next harvest season, it's based on the facts, the statistics, the figures that I submit as millers, that GTAZ submits, Food Reserve Agency and small-scale farmers. When you put these figures together, this is maize that is available in the country for consumption. Even what you return, what you keep in form of a retention at home for your own consumption, like the other caller was saying, is good enough. We capture those figures so that when we are doing the calculations, the country requires 120,000 metric tons.
So, just before you proceed, in conclusion, what is the way forward right now, considering the situation in the country regarding the pricing and the distribution?
Especially
even
those that are still panicking and those that are still trying to, probably maybe why one bag is being raised is people might try to hold on to the maize and try to exorbitantly raise the prices. How best do we deal with
Not
that?
at all. One, mini meal has a short shelf life. You can't keep mini meal for more than 30, 40 days. It will go bad. And this is my worry. If you buy 5 bags, you're not able to consume that in 1 month. We are getting into the next harvest season. It's a matter of 6 to 5 weeks. Why should you buy 5 bags that you'll not be able to consume in a month? It will go bad, and what are you going to do? You have to throw it.
I mean the maize.
Yeah, the maize, that is obviously the jurisdiction given to Food Reserve Agency. I wouldn't really want to speak for the agency.
Of course.
But the reason why there is a restriction on the number of bags you can buy, we are trying to avoid people from reselling the maize. Buy 2 bags, then they come and sell to you at a very high price. It's because of that. We've had worse situations where we're coming from, and we have had to learn very bitter lessons. And this is why we're trying to do it better. Yes, I appreciate that the consensus that the process is too long, and I hope that my elder brother Kafu Abdullah is listening. Probably they can try and see how they can expedite and probably shorten the process for those that are buying maize from the Food Reserve Agency. But the message that I'd love to leave to the nation and the consumers is that there's no need to panic. We are aware that there are some millers that are out of production because of lack of maize. So this is why I've said we've engaged government, and I'm sure in a few days to come, when you invite me here, obviously the situation will be different. So yeah, let's keep calm. Millers that are still producing, and I think there was a clip. Minister Katambo and the Honorable Skazo were visiting 1 or 2 mills that were assuring them that we are still producing.
Yep.
And I can assure the nation we are producing. There's no need to panic. Buy what you require for consumption. Don't buy too much that you need to stock up to July. The new crops are coming. The new crop is coming. And, for me, this time around, I expect consumption levels to reduce. Why? Because you've got green maize, which is fresh maize. You've got pumpkins and all that. So the consumption pattern changes. So I really don't understand why we're having this peak in terms of the demand. It's all because of the panic. Somebody says we're running out of maize. We are running out of minimum. We have enough maize, and I'm putting my name on the chopping board.
That could be, clarified. Demand and supply factors always tend to play there. But we hope for the best, and we hope next time we invite you, everything could fall in place. All right. Well, coming up, we'll take a look at the summary, but also we'll be talking to our legal expert, Bevin Chansa. Just to help us understand, some legal requirements, or rather, just an understanding of why, Sparks, we do know, has sued the Attorney General for unlawful detention in police custody. He was charged by police for murder. And of course, we'll be getting to understand the legal repercussions around all of that. For now, let's take a break.
What word is this? Water. Again? Water. Good. And what are you doing?
I'm helping Mom make home safe.
What do you mean by making home safe?
I help Mom do the housework. Mom always washes the fruit and covers the food. Mom makes sure I wash my hands every time after I use the toilet and before I touch any food. Mom uses Chloripure to keep our drinking water safe.
Chloripure is safe and easy to use. Read the instructions on the bottle for proper use and wait for 30 minutes before drinking the water. Use Chloripure correctly and consistently all year round. That way you'll be able to protect your family from waterborne diseases. Chloripure is now available in pharmacies, chemists, and retail outlets at an affordable price.
Make your drinking water pure with Chloripure.
This message is brought to you by the USAID Discover Health Project with support from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, from the American people.
There is a core belief at the heart of Liquid Telecom. The belief that every individual has the right to be connected. The pursuit of this vision has seen us build the largest independent fiber network in Africa. From Cape to Cairo, we are connecting more of Africa. Liquid Telecom, building Africa's digital future.
Stay happier with DSTV's 2020. All you have to do is pay for your DSTV subscription and you get up to 42% discount. What's more, you get upgraded to the next package.
At what?
Just pay for your current package and get upgraded to the next package. With DSTV, even when times are tough, we got you.
For you, I can do anything.
Now, that's 2020. DSTV. Feel every moment. T's and C's apply.
Eagle Events Management, in collaboration with NGOCC and Trade Kings Group, presents the International Women's Day Conference and Luncheon at the Mulungushi International Conference Center, dubbed AmEco, with the theme Transforming a Generation of Women for Equality. Speakers will include Bridget Kambobe, Trade Kings; Maureen Treasure, Women in Law, Southern Africa; Charit Muntali, Eagle Events; Christabel Michelle Banda, Zisk Life; UD Soko, Zambian Cancer Society; Wanga Zulu, Actress in Pali; Maria Zalonius Mwelwa, Zaid Farmer. Date 14th of March 2020. Time 08 hours. Charges 500 kwacha only. Students and Makwebo women 250 kwacha. For bookings call 0966 756 555, 0977 614 130. Email event@zamnet.zaim. Don't miss out.
Powered by Trade Kings, improving lives.
You know how they say laughter's the best medicine? Well, it's also timeless. Like these grown-ups taking a trip down memory lane. Maybe not so grown-up. I've also heard people saying that life is a comedy to those who think like a man. See what I did there? Stay connected for more hilarious moments all the way from Swamp World. Aren't they the cutest? We're here to keep you laughing your act pulls off. Go TV. Live it, love it.
Ichi chimbuzi chayamba kuzula mukafikila ndoti yonse iyi izapeza njila yanga yofika pamanzi ya munyanzi na futi.
Sungani umoyo wabanja lanu kufikila chimbuzi chanu nichoyopya tumilani wa Lusaka Water and Storage Company nolembesa vatumize vovomelesewa kuchosa doti mushe.
Woi, lilo tikumbula tibo ni zona.
Woi, nisha ukanka mais.
Nuna njala ngala pa haiki. Mongali kata tizeo.
Ndaulo samba kumanja kulibe.
Hey, Jinex Police.
Cap 7 of hygiene laws. Mkudia sasamba kumanja. Je hygiene ya branch. Bad hygiene malpractice. Apa numba diarrhea. Yala mixta assault pamala. Sinzati ma James yamanje sio kwala la monga ya kudala. That's why mfunko sambila na hygienic soap. Mabera you. Officer Pompi.
Go please, madam.
Go and hygienics and kurukuta them right now. Hygienic soap is a powerful antibacterial soap with active silver technology formulated to kill 99.9% of germs.
Hygienic soap. You are safe in our hands.
Welcome back to Diamond Live. Thank you for staying right where you are. And, well, we're very excited that you're a part of us. We'll be reading more of the messages that you've been sending through. And a lot of them have been in relation to the discussion that my colleagues here were having with the Millers Association of Zambia President Andrew Chintala. But then something else. Council workers across the country have had quite a rough time. There's a few that have been getting paid, but their salaries have been in arrears from 1 to 6 months. Now imagine not getting paid for 6 months. So the union, Zulao, has had its position on this, and they've been talking about it, and that's why we are joined by the union Secretary General, and that is Mr. Edward Zulu, and is joining us tonight on the show. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight. Welcome to Diamond Live.
Good evening, thanks. And thank you for inviting me as well.
First of all, let's start off this way. I want to get what your general position is as Zulao with regards to the non-payment of the salaries of council workers. What's your position generally?
Yeah, the general situation countrywide is that the local authorities have unpaid salaries ranging from 1 to 6 months. And those that are in 6 months, probably those are peculiar cases like Sparta and Mongo. But the general picture is not very good. It's just probably a few cities and municipal councils that are current in terms of payment of salaries. Otherwise, the vulnerable councils, about over 70 of them are owing our members in terms of salary areas.
All right. Has a position been given on why this is the case?
Well, the position has not been clearly given to the union as we speak. And for us as a labor movement, we are quite taken aback. You may wish to recall that at the time the local government equalization fund was introduced, it was spaced timely. Okay? And this whole issue emanates from the Local Government Amendment Act number 6 of 2010, the one that reintroduced the Local Government Service Commission, and also provided therein under Article 45, a salary grant to principal officers and officers of the council. So as a union, of course, we are uncomfortable with that particular provision. And when we appeared before a parliamentary committee, we did make a submission to the effect that the salary grant should be trickled down to the colleagues equally in different form. So an amendment was done to that effect in 2014. The Local Government Act, under the Local Government Amendment Act number 12 of 2014, the one that now introduced the Local Government Service Commission. So from that time, we could see the consistency from government. It was being dispensed on a monthly basis. If it delayed, it was probably for a week or so, and then it's right to the council. So we have a consistency in terms of payment of salaries on the council's countrywide.
So, well, there's been a lot of calls by different stakeholders asking the councils to make their own money and be able to sustain themselves, because there is a clear potential that they actually could make that money on their own. So then the question is, why aren't the councils making the money on their own? And the immediate escape for them is to have the grants, because the other argument is that if the councils are not able to make their own money, then the workers should not get paid because they're not doing their jobs.
Indeed, that's been the correct picture. And even as a Labour movement, we do not think that the local government acquisition fund in itself is a panacea to the financial problems of the local authorities. Why do we speak of that? Because if you look at the municipalities and the cities, they are way far beyond what they receive in terms of the local government equalization fund. So even if the equalization fund is based on time, it's not possible for the cities and municipalities to pay at 100% their wage bill. But the biggest problem that is there, though, that there is no proper legal framework that is councils to collect. And secondly, there is a lack of robust political from the political leadership. I'll give you an example of the Markets and Bus Stations Act of 2007. This piece of legislation was in act from 2007, from the time it was ascended to. But at what stage did we see it taking effect? The markets, the bus stations in these facilities way back from the era of the MMD regime. And these cadres are the same people that keep on changing shirts. Today they are in green, tomorrow they've been blue. These are the same people that have been collecting money in these facilities. But if you see the kind of political will that is required to empower the local authorities, in the midst of this particular piece of legislation that was in place, it was not there. The Republican President Edgar Lungu himself to direct the country to move away from markets. And that's the time we saw councils moving in to collect from the markets and bus stations. So in the midst of this strong legal framework, we still require a very strong and robust political will from the political leadership to ensure that councils have an enabling environment in which they are able to collect that which is due to them. Secondly, besides the collection of levies fees within the jurisdiction of the Constitution number 2 of 2016 is very clear on the exclusive functions of the local authorities. In there is a provision of the distribution of electricity, tolls, and the motor vehicle licenses. Have we seen those being actualized? This is 2020, and the Constitution was amended way back in 2016. But up to date, these are just the issues that are lying and gathering dust in the shelves. So it's like you give someone an ATM card, go to the ATM, but you don't give them a PIN. How do they access the money? So you see, councils can actually generate a lot of money from these facilities. Such that even the issue for the equalization fund being withheld for certain local authorities does not make sense to us at this particular time. Because even the so-called well-to-do local authorities that are able to pay salaries, they are paying salaries at net. They are defaulting in terms of statutory contributions. So we need to create a very strong legal framework for the local authorities and a very robust political will for the local authorities to be able to collect enough to pay both salaries as well as meet service provisions in my economy.
All right, thank you so much for speaking with us tonight on Diamond Live. That is Mr. Kingsley Zulu, who was speaking with us. They're just talking about the situation with the local councils, some of which have not been paid for as much as 6 months.
That's hectic.
I cannot imagine that. I honestly cannot imagine that.
Yeah, because if 2-3 months is so hectic, what more going 6 months? How do you pay your rent? How do you take your kids to school? How do you put food on the table? Yeah, and for some people, that is their one job. That is their one job. So how then do they begin to support their families?
And one of the things that the Zulao clearly had put out in their press, in the presser, was that these workers were not going to continue working because not because they're striking, but because of the fact that they can't afford to work anymore. Like it's expensive to go to work. It's expensive for you to go to work than it is for you to stay home, because you've got to be paid. You've got to pay the company basically. You are getting money from wherever it is, and then you are going to work at the council when you're not getting anything. So. What a rough one. But we'll quickly take a look at the stories that are making news in the news summary.
And now the news in summary. The coronavirus outbreak has been labeled a pandemic by the World Health Organization, WHO. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros said the number of cases outside China had increased 13-fold over the past 2 weeks. He said he was deeply concerned by alarming levels of inaction over the virus. A pandemic is a disease that is spreading in multiple countries around the world at the same time. Dr. Tedros has called on governments to change the course of the outbreak by taking urgent and aggressive action. And speaking during a multi-sectoral meeting in Zambia, National Public Health Institute Executive Director Victor Mukonga says the country has no confirmed corona cases but has only received 25 alerts of suspected cases, which are also being closely investigated. And Health Minister Dr. Chitalu Chilufya has insisted that the country is continuing to make strides in strengthening its preparedness to contain the virus outbreaks.
Coronavirus is a global threat. Slowly, the disease is now spreading to many countries in Africa. It is inevitable for Zambia to ignore the threat that seems to be near than far. So far, about 100 cases of the virus recorded in 11 countries in Africa, according to the World Health Organization. In this regard, the Ministry of Health has held a National Epidemic Preparedness, Prevention, Control and Management Committee meeting to assess and update the preparedness of the country in the prevention of the virus. Minister of Health Chitalu Chilufya says the country has to prepare adequately as the virus threatens the national development.
The COVID-19 virus is a grave threat globally. It's already affected a number of countries on the continent. South Africa has been the latest in the southern region, and the number of cases is already going up. Zambia must up its surveillance. Zambia must up its interventions to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and also to enhance preparedness in the event that suddenly happened.
Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Dora Selia, has called for information dissemination to all parts of the country to educate people on the prevention measures.
Numbers are important. This is the information that the citizens are looking for. And clearly, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, with my colleagues here in media, will do all we can to ensure that these numbers are explained to the people. In fact, we will also go further to call for a meeting of media houses and news editors to ensure that this matter is relevant, it is timely.
Clinical care risk assessment of COVID-19 World Health Organization country representative Nathan Bachaita says the points of entry should be fully prepared as most countries have been affected through points of entry.
Those who work at the points of entry are our gatekeepers to ensure the safety of our countries. Your decision making can make the difference between keeping us safe or allowing a scourging. As we all know, most of the cases in Africa have come through our ports of entry, therefore reinforcing the capacity and making sure we pay attention to the details of the procedures has never been more important.
Globally, the coronavirus has affected more than 100,000 lives and claimed more than 4,000. Agnes Shamboko, Diamond News.
Father of the deceased fourth-year University of Zambia student, Vespa Shumzila, has sued the state claiming damages for loss of expectation of life. In this matter, Davidson Shumzila cites the Attorney General as a respondent in the Lusaka High Court, seeking damages for pain and suffering and loss of future prospective earnings. According to a statement, claim filed in court by Mr. Shumzila states that by the verdict in the inquest dated October 17, 2019, the magistrate court found that his daughter died as a result of asphyxia caused by smoke inhalation from the fire, which was caused when the police officers fired tear gas canisters into the hostel where the deceased was at Unza. Mr. Shumzila states that the actions of the state were reckless or negligent and were in complete disregard for the human decency, human life, and respect for the law. He adds that the death of his daughter permanently deprived her of the opportunity to live a full life. Shumuzela wants damages for loss of expectation of life to be assessed by the court.
It is now 2 years since Vespas Shimuzila, the fourth-year student at the University of Zambia, died, but the circumstances in which she lost her life are still fresh. According to the Magistrate Court's verdict, in an inquest dated October 17, 2019, the court found that Vespas died as a result of asphyxia caused by smoke inhalation from the fire, which was caused when the police officers fired tear gas canisters into the hostel where the deceased was at Unza. Therefore, the family feels justice has not prevailed over the death of their daughter because the actual person who fired the tear gas canisters has not been brought to book. Vespa's father sued the state claiming damages for loss of expectation of life. Mr. Shimuzila states that the actions of the state were reckless or negligent and were in complete disregard for human decency, human life, and respect for the law. He states that the inquest found that the tear gas fired into the rooms caused a fire and smoke which led to the asphyxia suffered by the deceased. The plaintiff explains that the incident happened when the police were deployed to the campus in an attempt to control the unrest from the students who were protesting against delayed payment of meal allowances on October 4, 2018. Mr. Shimuzila states that in the process of controlling the situation, unidentified police officers entered into the campus and fired tear gas canisters into the students' hostels. He contends that the canisters fired into the hostels caused the mattress to catch fire, which combined with the noxious gases from the canisters resulting into the deceased failing to breathe. He states that the death of his daughter permanently deprived her of the opportunity to live a full life. Mr. Shimuzila therefore wants damages for loss of expectation of life to be assessed by the court. Rhoda Mvola, Dabu News.
Some Chipata residents have bemoaned the high mealie meal prices, which have now reached between 195 and 200 kwacha for a 25 kg bag. However, Millers Association of Zambia chairperson Andrew Chintala has explained that panic buying is the cause of the high prices of mealie meal.
Cost of living has always been a political tool. When the price is affordable, the politicians, especially in the ruling class, are happy. The opposite is the reality when the price of mealie meal shoots the roof. At the moment, the reality is Zambia's staple food produced out of mealie meal is becoming expensive by the day. Residents of Chipata district in Eastern Province are buying the commodity at between 195 kwacha and 200 for a 25 kg bag of breakfast.
Especially unga kuno tinsofutika maningi kuno ku Eastern Province kuchipata. Chatiwa vachita kwati kapina tiribe ma Minister of Agriculture satithandiza manga kumbali yawo.
Ende tangatiriye makamaka kunga kupeza kutukuta ku madam shop chikula kuti uwode kutolimba nawo kupeza kutokupasani 195 190 80 kutonyengera navo so vinu mani pavuta.
Fulanga dura 300 bag. Salad ya dura 15 kwacha per bottle. Mulena chochi. Mwamino muni kuzisema wala siku mwamino mundishemo bana. Unga nopima. So tempa boma. Unga mwawana mwadurira. Wawana amasi.
Others have to join long queues in ShopRite to access cheaper commodity.
Kandi kumashopu winangunga nodura maningi 190 185 some ShopRite ka price kaliko bwino ili 150
vatibera 195 almost 200 but va ShopRite at least ngasako vachitako bwino mitengo 150 otherwise kuti vakuisa ko ungayambiri then vaikekona limit yogulira monga so that vanhu aliyense akazikwanira kugula unga because we find that if it pays and drama monga mailo lero unga uchipa wasira matikagule ukomboni 200.
Millers Association of Zambia chairperson Andrew Chintala says a week ago the tripartite agreement meeting was progressing well to stabilize the prices of mealie meal. He says when word went round on social media that there was a shortage of mealie meal, This led to consumers to start panic buying.
Some kind of panic amongst the consumers, where I think the panic buying of the commodity will have taken advantage and asking for way too high prices, like you're saying, 195 and 200. So if you recall, about 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, the prices were just normal when the supply was stable. So what has triggered this is some reports that have been seen flying around the social media, suggesting the shortage of the commodity. So this is something that we are trying to address, particularly to try and help the millers who have run out of maize.
Every country has its staple food. For Zambians, shima will always find its way on the table. But one thing for sure, this mealie meal is a political food. Victoria Kayeye, Diamond News, in Chipata, Eastern Province.
Those are the stories making summary this evening. We're going to take a short break, and on the other side, we get to read your messages as we get ready to wrap up.
Topstar. Enjoy digital life. The Europa League round of 16 now comes to the second leg. It's the winner of the 2 legs to qualify to the next round who goes to the quarterfinals of the competition. Manchester United, Inter Milan or Sevilla. Get your answer on Topstar. Watch Manchester United as they host LASK on Thursday, 19th March at 22 hours, live and exclusive to World Football on Topstar. Tune in to World Football earlier on the same day and catch Inter Milan as they play away to Getafe FC at 19:55, live and exclusive to Topstar. Subscribe now and see the clash of the best teams. Subscribe now and witness who progresses to the quarterfinals. Topstar. Enjoy digital life.
This is the taste of Africa. Reverend products, 100% juice, high juice, the taste of Africa.
Juice manufactured by Revin Zambia Limited in the FA Cup, and as usual, you can never be too sure who to support. Another important game for Real Madrid as they look to secure another 3 points. With all the drama happening around Man City, will they be able to focus on getting the 3 much-needed points? Stay connected to GoTV for more nail-biting moments. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Mwaisani mkwai pali ishtatu alamuna tukarata tuntumutumine. That's close, right? But it's not even close. Actually, I'm right.
Yeah, we just didn't expect it. That's why.
I never expected it.
The speed wasn't as accurate.
Is it? I'm supposed to be faster than that?
Yeah.
Anyway, mwaisani naturoshi pali tukarata mutumine. Utu mwachira tuma pali ayamari ya show tuwachira.
Landa kumkwai.
Na beni beso bachisa bachintala na bazulu
bachintala.
Chintala.
No. My name is Cholo from Kafiwe.
Help us understand. When did you engage the government to offload the maize to millers? Secondly, does the government offload to all milling companies or just to some selected few? If so, how many are they and which ones are they? diversification for household food security won't improve the situation as it now, but diversification for commercial purpose plus household food security will stimulate growers. Let's be practical. Thank you for the message. Also remember to put your name.
Yeah, he did. I think you read it in the opening.
No, okay.
Why?
This government is not serious with what it's doing. Surely, can we be eating roller meal tasting like Gayang Koko at a high price?
Costa Funkawe, for those who don't know, at Timo Farms, Lukanga Road, the 25 kg is at 125
wow.
and 50 kg Monday and Friday. Oh,
okay.
Specific days for pricing.
So fluctuate according to the days. Interesting.
Okay.
This is Peter from Kirundu. The country is in such a situation because the responsible institutions are dealing with secondary problem whilst the problem is primary. Information explained at maize production on stocking level. The fact is there is not enough maize in stock. If it's there, why are you not supplying the millers? Question mark.
So I can't, but what's the reserve? I don't know where it came from.
Let's stop it now.
Yeah. It's got to be the same message, but it would be nice to read another one. Those are some of the messages that you've sent through tonight.
Where is the use of solar mills glands? Government, you have failed us, Zambians. Tomorrow you will put the blame on opposition, especially HH. Plus PF
Please.
Oh, please. Oh, short form writing. Please, PF, wake up. And the other message there says, is National Milling Company not part of the milling companies who got maize from FRA at subsidized price? Why is 25 kg bag at their plant in Livingston? Why is a 25 kg bag at their plant in Livingston?
Yeah.
Because they're a milling company? Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of Diamond Live. My name is Jonah.
My name is Malama.
And I'm Chichi Daisy Lips.
And I'm Cheso. But before we go, I think that this is something that, I mean, Mr. Chitala came over here and he's talked about quite a lot. And I can see many of these messages people do not actually understand what exactly could be going on in the market. Mr. Chitala talked about quite a lot on panic buying and all of that, but I hope that there could be much sensitization. This indeed will forever be a hidden topic and subject.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.
This March, flexing our muscles to give you a great viewing experience. Let's do this. Put your big girl pants on and forge your own path.
This is the first check I've ever gotten. How many people would keep it be a ground? It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Hostile conditions, huh? Brush it off. Stay connected to GoTV for shows that will get you pumped up. We're going all in this March. GoTV. Live it. Love it.
Zambia is for the Zambians. Only Zambians will develop this nation. And the youth is the backbone of every nation. The youth is the backbone of our economy. The youth is the backbone of the future of this country. Therefore, I want to see a Zambia where the youth is given skills, is educated, is guided, and is empowered.
Are you a Zambian youth aged 18 years and above? And like many, are in need of empowerment opportunities? Now here is your chance with the National Restoration Party